Preparing the meeting is being live streamed. Got it. Yeah.
Sweet.
There we go. And we are live. Looks like it's a little behind on the screen though. Are you getting the same thing on your end? Where?
No, I'm just seeing you in Zoom. It looks like it's on. It's in sync.
Let's see. Why is mine not in sync? Everybody, here you are. We're in sync here. Okay, I must be. Let's close this over here. You still there? Okay, good. Okay, I see what it was doing. How's everybody doing? We're live here, just a random live stream. If anybody's there yet, just give us a second as people hop in. We decided to do some impromptu live streams here on YouTube, and this is the first in the series. We're going to be doing them, I think, quite a few this month, and kind of going from there. I don't see anybody coming in yet, though, so I'm wondering if it's live on YouTube yet. So if you're out there watching in the recorded version of this, I'm waiting for people to come in, making sure that we are actually live. Make sure that everything is functioning live.
Lost my camera. So what we got.
I still got you. I'm gonna go check one thing, make sure everything's working properly. Okay, yep, it's being advertised. Okay, cool. So somebody should be coming in a moment. So welcome to the call. If you're just now coming in, let's check one thing. Oh, okay, there are people watching. They're just not showing up on my screen, but I can see that you are there according to YouTube. So that's interesting. You're not showing up on my Zoom screen. So so enjoy the show. I guess I'm just gonna have to I'm not gonna be able to chat with you guys. Let's see if we can fix that. Okay, if you're there and you're live with us right now, go ahead and post something in the chat just to see if I can see that it's coming up. Yeah, we got 0 attendees according to this. Interesting. But in YouTube, when I go look in YouTube, we got a whole bunch. So technical errors today. What I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and give our talk that we wanted to give today, guys. I'd love to interact with you more, but it doesn't seem to be letting me do that. Maybe we'll repeat this talk tomorrow when we figure out our technical difficulty. Here we go. Go to the live stream itself and click on it, Anthony, and you'll be able to see the comments. It's going to be probably a little bit behind, but you won't be able to see it on Zoom. So it's super interesting how this works. Tomorrow we'll just go live directly through YouTube. That'll be the better way to do it.
Yeah, let me see. Give me a sec there.
Okay.
Crossover.
Cool. Its problem with that is it's a little bit behind, so we'll just have to talk and chat with people a little bit behind. So today we want to talk about letting all women go from Anthony's perspective, and just as a little heads up, I'm going to be doing an interview next Monday, I believe around 11 a.m. California time or Pacific time, with Andrew Bustamante, the CIA spy. There's a little talk with him on the Lex Friedman show, and we're going to be doing a talk. He's going to be speaking at the Integrated Man Summit, and he's going to be talking from the CIA's perspective on the power of this, how they use it, and it becomes so powerful when they're out spying on people, working with people, and how they really have to learn to let all attachment go to get the results they want as a CIA spy, and the power it has with that. And I'm super curious to hear exactly what he has to say, and to hear his perspectives. It sounds like it's a little different than mine. Mine comes from a very energetic perspective. His comes from a little bit more technical perspective. And we're going to compare notes and see how they kind of flow together. Let me know if you guys are hearing me okay as I'm doing this, because I am noticing that my picture is a little bit behind me, and Anthony's video is a little bit behind me. So, and this is the only way I can do this right now is to log into YouTube and just kind of work with that. So if you're there hearing me, go ahead and put a comment into the chat. And I don't know, I think it seems like you're about a minute. It seems like my video is about a minute.
I know. I'm literally watching myself, and it's such like 60 seconds behind. It's really funny.
Okay. Well, what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and do the talk, and we'll just assume the comments to whatever we say are going to come in about a minute late. Perfect. Awesome, Sam. Thank you for that. Now, and then we'll work out these details over the next day or so, because I plan to do, as I was saying at the beginning of this video, we plan to do a lot of, I plan to do a lot of these leading up to the Integrated Man Summit. I want to talk with Anthony here. I'm probably a couple of times. I think I might get Mark Iron back on here. If you haven't watched Mark Iron's talk that I did about a week ago or so, definitely check that out. And we're going to get we're going to be getting Andrew Bustamante on here, the CIA spy. So that'll be awesome too. And we'll be bringing on other people. I might even, we got some follow-up calls in the Integrated Man Summit that are going to be going on too for people that sign up for the summit with like Marnie. I got a bunch of people planned. I got one guy that's an extreme sports athlete I'm looking at bringing on. If he can get his stuff together, we'll see. But possibly a man that's in the sexual space, sexual energy, that type of stuff. So with that said, let's dive in. Mark Iron is a legend, by the way. He's amazing. He's awesome. And I can't wait I've been friends with him for years now. He's really changed my life, and I can't wait to meet him in person in Miami. That's going to be super exciting for me. That's probably going to be one of my highlights. And so let's dive in. So the whole idea of letting all women go is really simple. This is something I had to do, and I know Anthony. I want to hear Anthony's perspective on him having done this. If you guys haven't watched my video on letting all women go, definitely check it out. Just look up letting all women go. Look for the first one. It's got about 18,000 views, and that's big for our channel. I noticed a lot of people in there got very emotional over this video. See, so many of you, including myself, were so attached to getting women, chasing women, that there was no joy in our lives anymore. There was no peace in our lives. There was no love in our lives. We were so attached to getting the thing outside of ourselves that we weren't living for us anymore. And this is especially true of me. And I remember the moment I had this realization that I reached a point where I was actually getting a lot of women, but I needed them over every night for validation. I needed them over to feel good about myself. And I hated that. I hated the fact that I needed these women over, because I've noticed one night I didn't have any women in my life. They didn't come over, excuse me. One night no women showed up, and they were busy, whatever. I was dating like 4 girls at once. And I thought to myself, I got to find somebody to come over. And I was extremely lonely without somebody with me. And I realized, what is this about? I was used to be good at being alone. Then I started getting women, and I was terrible at being alone. And then I stopped. I said, I got to put the brakes on this. And then I got to learn to love Brian. And so in a sense, I did MGTOW without doing MGTOW. I didn't do it out of resentment for women. I did it for me. I did it because I wanted to love me more. So I started dating myself. I started taking myself to the mountains to go skiing and snowboarding. I started taking myself on trips. I started hanging out with guys, learning to really enjoy men's company more. And I started learning to have a life that I could invite women into. And if they didn't show up, I'd still be happy. I'd still be having a blast. That was the main goal of that. And that transition was a little rough at first because I was so lonely. I was hurt. I was sad. I needed somebody. When I saw a woman, I'm like, I want her attention. I want to go talk to her. And I had to let all that go constantly until I could reach this point that I really began to love myself. And I really began to have fun with myself, like hanging out, just being. And then I did go through a phase of having trouble bringing women back into my life because honestly, I don't think I wanted to. I was starting to actually calm down, get centered, and be happy. And I didn't want anybody to disrupt that.
Yeah.
And then amazing thing happened. I brought a woman into my life shortly after that was probably the perfect woman for me. She was so much more confident, so beautiful, so much more mentally healthy, so much more solid as a human being that I was almost shocked. I had really stepped up, I felt personally, a notch in who I was drawing at that point. And so by letting all the women go and learning to love me more, I changed not just her, but all the people around me started to change. If they didn't change, they went away and somebody else came in. It was an amazing thing. And so I want to hear Anthony's perspective on this journey, and see where he's at, and see what this was like for him. Because for a lot of us, it required me going out and almost pursuing what I wanted for a bit to realize how much I craved it and how much I needed it to feel good about myself. So I did get to a point where I could date a little bit. But then the dates were even though I was getting sex and was having an amazing time having sex, I wasn't really falling in love with any of these women. I think I was drawing women that needed me as much as I needed them for validation. And that created a lot of strife and pain between us. And so this whole idea of letting all women go became really important to me. Like, how can I love me, really love me, and then invite amazing women that love themselves into my life? And that's what it was about. So Anthony, I want to hear your perspective on this. I know you watched my video in the last day or so.
Right.
Where are you at with this?
Yeah, this is actually really interesting, because this is stuff I'm implementing at the same time. So when I heard that video, I was like, okay, yeah, I definitely do a lot of this, and I've been doing a lot of this, and I've been noticing a lot of the parts of me that are like, if I don't have a woman in my life, I don't feel good about myself, for sure. I don't feel like I'm doing anything. Like, I feel like I'm always having, I need to go out and talk to girls. I need to go out and I need to have a girl in my life. I need to have some girl over here that I'm having sex with regularly, or I don't feel good. You know, I feel like I'm not doing something right or whatever. Which is very interesting, because when I go out and do that, and let's say I get a girl, part of me still doesn't feel good enough, or feel, I've released a lot of it. That stuff still kind of comes up a little bit. So even though I can get them, it's just like, I still don't feel good in my own skin a lot of the times. So more recently, I would say, even over the past maybe 4 or 5 months, I've been really learning to enjoy my time by myself, like going swimming, going to smoke hookah, just doing something that I like, and coming home at the end of the night and just being like, oh, that was a cool ass day. I didn't need anything externally other than just me hanging out with myself. So in turn, I'm noticing that I like myself more, and I don't feel scared about being by myself and doing things alone. So it's really interesting. Also, when I'm out in the stores, I notice if I see a girl in the aisle, for instance, and my body's like, oh, go over there and talk to her, go over there and talk to her, which I think is a good thing for sure. But when I don't, and I can just sit there and appreciate what I see without having to go for it fills my body with pleasure. And I notice that pleasure feels actually better than actually going over there and talking to her.
So let me ask you a question. Before you could get girls, before you were able to even get women, how much, when you'd see a woman you wanted to talk to, how much pain was there, versus now you're getting pleasure when you see a woman you want to talk to? And that's a big distinction. Now, hear that, guys. Before and this is for me. Now, I want you to answer this in your perspective. But for me, I would look at a woman that I wanted to talk to, feel like I couldn't talk to her, feel like I wasn't good enough, and I'd be immense pain. So I go into more wanting her to validate me. Now I can look at a woman I want to talk to, and I can enjoy the want. And that changes the whole perspective. I don't have to go talk to her. I don't get rid of the want. I enjoy it, and I make a choice. I either choose to talk to her, or I choose to just enjoy my day and let it go and just appreciate the beauty of the person in front of me. And that was the big change once I learned to let people go. Can you talk about that? What was that like for you?
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. That and I don't know I don't know where that came from. If that came from maybe having an abundance at some point and being able to finally sit back, relax, and be like, okay, can I just enjoy them instead of getting them? But yeah, at some point I started to do that a lot more. And again, that whole pleasure thing, because it wasn't like that before. Like, when I didn't date and I was having trouble dating girls, every girl that I liked, that I thought was beautiful, it felt like torture. In a lot of ways, it was just like, yeah, I'm seeing this beautiful thing, but there's this block between me and this person. Like, I couldn't even get this girl if I wanted to. And that was the pain in itself. A lot of times now, where I see a girl, a part of me is just like, I probably could, honestly, but I do enjoy just being able to look at her and see how delicious she looks from here, and just enjoy that and be good with that. And a lot of times when you do that, you get girls smiling at you if you didn't even say anything, just because you're in pure pleasure about what you're seeing. So that's interesting too. So I feel like what's really starting to happen is a transition to actually trying to go and get girls versus actually just being attractive, and women being attracted to you because you're attractive. And the attractive part comes from enjoying yourself, right? That's what I'm noticing.
How does that change your behavior when you walk up to a woman? When you reach that point where you can enjoy them, whether you walk up or not, you can let them go or not let them go and still be happy. How does it, do you think that changes your behavior at all in the
Oh,
way?
100%. Yeah, 100%. It's almost like you're owning yourself more. You're not giving all your power away. The disattachment is not a word. Maybe disattachment a little bit, to the point where you can be playful. You're not fully invested in it. And you're more seeing it from this place where it's like, cool, if she doesn't want to play this game or do this dance, I'm totally not super invested in it anyway right now. So it's not going to hurt if she says no. Actually, if anything, if she says no, I can just be like, okay, that's cool, I get it. And I find myself doing that a lot. If I get rejected, I'm like, yeah, I get it. It's all good. It's not a big deal. I just let it go. And the way they respond to that is a lot differently than they respond to you getting butthurt about it and, this energetic drag when you're like, okay, you don't really be like, oh, I understand. You don't really understand. It's like, until you do it, it's just like, okay, I get it. It's no big deal, But then they keep talking to you sometimes, keep talking to you. Makes me curious.
Yeah, it's very interesting because I have talked to some women. I have a good friend here in Bozeman, and she talks to me all the time about guys hitting on her and how upset guys get sometimes when she rejects them, and how they make it so personal and get so hurt. And I see that with women too on the reverse side, and how unattractive it is. And like you just said, when you don't react, when you stay calm and centered and enjoy them, sometimes it flips a switch in them. It's very interesting. I don't know if you've seen that, because it's almost like it's like a magnet. The less you need them, this doesn't mean you don't interact with them, but the less you need them and can enjoy them, the more the positive side of the magnet's there, the side that pulls. The more you need them, the more the negative side of the magnet's there that pushes. And it's a deep down thing. This is not a surface thought like, oh, I don't need you, I'm good. That actually makes the negative side worse. But the more you actually feel all the way through, and we talk about this a lot in our seminars and our workshops, all the way through the core of your body down to your turn on, that you really don't need them. That's when they start to get super curious. Do you find that to be the case?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you get some very surprise responses. Like, kind of talking about what I was saying a second ago about, if she has a boyfriend or she is not interested or whatever, and you're truly like disattached to the outcome, and you're like, okay, I get it, it's no big deal. Then you'll get a random response sometimes to that. But give me your Instagram anyway, or give me this anyway. And it's just like, wait, I thought you were like, okay, I get what's going on here, right? They're so used to getting a different response. It's like, that's attractive to them because this guy is not like super overly attached, which I can understand. That's like, you're not being needy. And so she knows that, and all of a sudden you become more valuable to her because you're not needy.
Yeah, that's super true. That I think that's the number one thing that women, guys, if you're watching this, I think that's the number one thing that women are really looking for in a man. Is he needy? Is he worried about what I think of him? Does he take what I say personal? Can he stay calm under pressure emotionally and physically? And you don't have to be perfect. Matter of fact, if you screw up and then recover, that's sexier, I think, in a lot of ways. So you don't have to be perfect. Matter of fact, they'd rather see you err and recover, because that tells them a lot about how you'll handle problems in the future. And so you have plenty of space to err too, because if you're not erring, you're probably trying to be perfect. So go up and screw up a lot, but recover well. I've never said it that way. Learn to screw up, but learn to recover well. And recovering means getting your composure back, letting go of the neediness that might have popped up for a few seconds, getting more solid, being honest with a woman, being honest when you're angry, being honest when you're sad without needing anything in return. And that's getting you to the core of you. This is moving you to the direction of true self-esteem and self-love. And so have you noticed when you do this work over the years that the women that have been coming into your life are changing? Like, it seems like women are one way, right? There's women are all this, the women are all bitches, women are all manipulative. But as you do this work and you learn to love yourself more and need women less, in your experience, do the women change?
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. The way they respond to you changes, you know, and it could be it can kind of be mindful when you start off with that whole outlook, like, oh, they're all like this, they're all like this, they don't want me to that, and then you start to change, you start to shift yourself, and you're like, wait, why is there a girl just kind of being sweet? Even this hypothetically speaking, even if it is a rejection, they have a boyfriend or whatever, just the way they go about doing it, it's a lot different. It's something in the energy. It's like, okay, there's something here. Like you can feel it, and it's very playful
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
versus just
And,
going cold on you and just you know.
yeah, women are very curious. And when you're not a triggered man, they get more curious.
Yeah,
And because they can then anchor to you. A triggered guy, they can't anchor to, and they're looking for that guy they can anchor to and still be spontaneous, still be fun, right? It doesn't mean you have to be quiet. You can't be a big energy. It's just a non-reactive, like a big proactive energy is awesome to women. So a guy that can bring a lot of fun and teasing and playing and
yeah,
poking, but not get reactive to the response. And
yeah,
that takes, in my opinion, to do that in a connected, vulnerable way, takes self-esteem, because you can do that in a walled off way. That's not the same. Um, I'm going to look at the questions we got here. I know they're running a little bit behind. We talked about that earlier. The chat is about a minute behind where we're at. So anything I'm saying right now, I probably said a minute ago. So I'm going to look at the chat. I don't even know how many of you are in here, but it seems like you guys are pretty active. Martin just wrote, yeah, I meant by focus that my release meditations are okay, we're talking about something he was talking about before. Let's go see if we can find a good question or two. Open to being taken. Giving leave some. So Mr. Slick 72 wrote, giving leaves one open to be taken advantage of. Did you ever think that way, Anthony?
oh, what is he saying? Like being too open is like,
Giving leaves one open to be taken advantage of. Yeah. Do you think that way? Have you ever thought that way? What's your feeling on that?
no, I don't like being too open. No, I don't. Or at least I wasn't conscious of it if I was. But I do understand just the importance now of being open and remaining open, because the minute that you close, it's just like you just shut down all possibilities to anything happening.
Okay.
You know, if that's what
Yeah,
he's talking about.
I would agree with you on that. Yeah, I don't think giving it. The funny thing is feeling taken advantage of is a feeling, right?
Yeah,
So that's something you feel in your body. If you do something giving and then somebody technically takes advantage of that, that's great information. Then you
yeah,
just, well, that person's not a good person. I'd rather find that out right from the beginning and see that a woman's manipulative day one, day two, and move on than be married to her with children later and really clue into that. Because yeah, let's say I go in with my walls up all the time and I'm not going to be giving, and I'm going to make you earn it really hardcore. I'm not going to, I'm not saying, and giving, part of giving is setting boundaries and saying no to it. That's all part of giving. But let's say I'm open and vulnerable with a person, and then, or I set up walls, excuse me, like I was saying, and I'm really close with people. And then what happens is I attract that in reciprocation, right? Now Mr. Slick, let's take a look at this. Now let's say you go into be giving and you're completely open and you're feeling vulnerable with that person, not needy. Throw out neediness. If you feel needy, you got insecurity, then yes, you will be taken advantage of. It's the neediness that gets you taken advantage of, not the giving and not the vulnerability. Needy vulnerable is very different than needy strong. So you come in very vulnerable strong. When you feel her starting to pull in a way that's no good, you just say no. But you don't stop being vulnerable. You don't stop being giving by choice. You might say no in that moment because that's what the moment calls for, and the vulnerability is what equals that ability to do that. It's your system that tells you when to say no, when to stop, when to set a boundary, and when to give more. And if you're closed, walled, shut off, you're never going to be able to do that. Never, ever, ever in your life. And you're never going to draw a woman that's reciprocal to that, that's really open and vulnerable with you, where you really want to be giving to each other. So hopefully you understand that. That's a really deep concept. And maybe I should do a whole talk on that myself. Do you want to say anything about that, Anthony? Did I lose you, Anthony? Did you freeze on me? Might have lost Anthony, guys. Yeah, it looks like Anthony froze. So I'll just keep talking. I'll take a couple more questions, and if Anthony wants to log out and log back in, we'll get him back. But I can't really stop the whole process for now. Let's see. I'm focusing on this more recently. Thank you, Martin. It's really important. I think it's probably the thing that doesn't just improve your life with women, it improves your life with everything. When you're no longer attached to money, it's easier to make money. If you're really obsessed with money, like getting to $1 million, you'll probably get your million with a lot of hard work and pushing. And then what'll happen is when you get to the million, you work on protecting it and start losing it, and everything will start to fall apart because you'll be reactive to the money and to success. Same thing with sex, same thing with anything. Okay. Jeremy, hey, what's up, buddy? It's good to see you on here. The stuff we talk about here can be a lot deeper, and because we're looking at the subtleties of communications, guys. So as you watch the channels more and more, you'll get that there's a lot of subtleties to emotion and the way we communicate. And as you learn those subtleties, you'll realize that a lot of stuff you thought was one way is actually the opposite. The vulnerability is the true key to success. Strong vulnerability. We're going to keep saying that, strong vulnerability. And learning to let all women go and then bring them back in from a place of strong vulnerability is what creates all the changes in your life. Okay. Okay, let's go to the bottom and see if we got any other questions. See if Anthony is coming back in on me yet. Are you there, buddy? I think he just logged back in. I've got to hold on. I've got to fix the attendee problem. Give me 1 second so Anthony can get back in. Promote to panelist, and then okay, cool. Now I'm going to promote him to co-host so we can see him. Okay, cool. So Anthony, you should be able to turn on your camera here in a sec. Okay, awesome. So diving in a little deeper, I was just taking some questions from the guys and seeing where they were at and getting a feel. So
my phone temperature increased.
So Martin wrote, thank you. Just really tired of being surrounded by beautiful women and sometimes feel powerless to do something. And that comes from the neediness. That comes from wanting from them, but not feeling good enough. So if you look at the emotional scale, it goes apathy, grief, fear, lust, anger, pride. And when you're using wanting, but you got a lot under that apathy, grief, and fear, and you're using the wanting to compensate, that's still a good thing. But every time you go to take action, you amplify what's under it and you end up dropping back down into it. So the processing of all those lower emotions till you go up into wanting, and then you go, fuck it. And you feel that anger and that courage, and ultimately you turn it into courage to move forward and take action, is where the power comes from. And that's everything in your life. Again, this is a metaphor for everything in your life. Okay, so here I'll give man, you have to also. Okay, cool. So Valentino wrote, if your life situation isn't going too well, how do you respond to loaded questions like, how are you? And how is that a loaded question? I don't even get how you're calling that. It's just somebody asking, how are you? How are you? I mean, for me, I got a bunch of different responses depending on how the person's being. Do they really care? Can you tell if they care? Are you present? Do you care? What would you say to that, Anthony?
Yeah, man, just honesty. I mean, you obviously don't want to take it down to where you're a drag and you're sad and you're lonely where you are. You know, if you're having a rough time, man, it's just kind of rough right now. You know, it's very attractive when you can just own it and not be the victim to it. You know what I mean? Because she can see that maybe you're not having a good day, but you're not bothered by it. She's not gonna be bothered by it. You know?
Yeah. Notice what Anthony just said there, that you can own it. So the key there is you can give an honest answer if you're not demanding a return on the question, you're not trying to manipulate with the response, with the response that is. So if you say, oh, I feel a little sad right now, and you're looking at her saying, don't you feel sorry for me? Well, yeah, that's going to make her want to leave the room and get away from you. But if you own the fuck out of it, I'm a little sad right now. I could also get a girl attracted to you. I had a client when he finally figured that out and stopped wanting things from women and started getting honest. He started getting honestly laid a lot. He started getting sex a lot. He was blown away by this because he was always taught to pretend like he's always happy. And that never worked for him either, because they could tell either way, whether you're sad or happy, you were lying. You were needy. And the key element to all of that was that you were needy. And you were pretending to be happy and really needy, or you were telling you're sad and being needy and trying to manipulate. And it's really breaking that paradigm of neediness that drives that answer. So awesome. So we've been on this call, 40 minutes, 30, 40 minutes. Is there anything else you want to say about this topic, Anthony?
Yeah, man, I think the topic itself is just so great, man, because it sounds counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Let go of women and you'll get women. Right? So I think people do have the wrong idea of it. It's like you definitely don't want to do it to get women, but you want to do it to feel happy with yourself. And again, I notice the more I do it, the more energy returns to my body, the less sad I feel about, say, not stopping that girl, not approaching that girl, not getting that girl. And the more just self-content I become. And I notice when I have that self-content, that energy, it's really easy to just go off the girl's altar, because it's a bit of that's confidence.
Yeah.
So I think just learning how to do that, it just restores so much of your confidence in yourself. And a lot of times you don't really have to do a whole lot. You just stop yourself from the suffering and the pain of the wanting. Which in your second video you're talking about that, right? Really learning how to enjoy the wanting and find a pleasure in the wanting. And doing that, man, it increases your appreciation for women, your gratitude towards women, your gratitude towards beauty. And let's say you were to show up and talk to a girl or approach a girl in that energy, it will go so well just because you're in pleasure and you transmitting that pleasure over to her. They would just knock her off her feet automatically. So it's almost like a secret weapon, dude, honestly. If you think about it, that's what I think it is.
It's the key to happiness and everything. So yeah, Anthony's nailing it there. He's exactly right. For those of you that haven't checked out Anthony's channel, go subscribe right now. Anthony has his own channel, The Fearless Man Anthony. Can you write that into the chat there, Anthony? Just write your channel address for YouTube. And definitely go subscribe right now. And we want to get that channel built up. He's got a lot of great advice and a lot more great stuff coming down the pike. For these webinars, I'm going to be doing a bunch of these this week leading up to the Integrated Man Summit in Miami coming up, which is going to be online and in person. So make sure to check out the Integrated Man Summit. Go to thefearlessman.com/events if you want to learn more about that. That's going to be an amazing event. On Monday, I'm going to be having the CIA spy, former spy, retired from that industry, Andrew Bustamante was recently on the Lex Friedman show. He's going to be on here and he's going to be talking about the same topic, but from a CIA perspective, letting everything go to be a powerful spy. And think about that, guys, how cool that is. The CIA adopts this idea in their own way. They got to let it, they can't want anything from anybody or feel like they want, they got to pull away and they have ways of specifically doing that pulls people in. I want to thank Andre for the 25 Ron gift. That was really cool. And I can't wait to meet you in November. That's coming up really fast at the Integrated Man Summit. Here, I'm going to put in, I'm typing in here. I think it's Fearless Man Events, right? Here, somebody test that link out. Let me know if it works. I think I got it right though. But that's for the, if you guys want to come to the event or you want to sign up for the online program, we're going to have Anthony's going to be speaking there. I'll be speaking there. Dave, my partner, will be speaking there. We'll have all kinds of, Andrew Bustamante will be speaking there, and we're going to be having fun out in the sun. And there's going to be a lot of follow-up speakers after the event that you guys are going to get private access to for anybody that signs up for this, like Marnie, the Wing Girl, and I got a couple others coming up. Somebody in the sexual space that works with men and sexuality, and potentially, and I don't want to announce their names till they're confirmed, and somebody in the extreme sports space possibly. So So with that said, I'm going to take one or two more questions. We're going to call it a day, and then I'll be back in a couple of days. I'll probably do another surprise webinar, and maybe on Saturday or Sunday, and then we'll have Andrew popping up on Monday. Definitely sign up for Anthony's channel. The one, let's see, what's this one? How do you stop intimidated by big guys? How do you get respected without starting a fight? That is what freaks me out the most. The fear of angry boyfriends, etc., brought your sex signals. And so that's a really interesting question, because I think I had that. I can't remember, but I reached a point where I just didn't care anymore. I remember this is just a random story, but I think you guys will like it. I remember going to this bar in Hollywood, and I was talking to this girl. And I've been working on my grounding and my confidence, been doing a lot of work with really getting in front of people and eye gazing and doing a lot of confidence work. And this woman was standing there. I started talking to her, and I was chatting with her. And this guy walks up. He was huge. He had tattoos, big motherfucker, super intimidating, comes walking up behind her after I was talking to her. And as I'm talking to her, I look over at him and I go, "Hey, nice to meet you. My name is Brian." I put my hand out to shake his hand. And he looks at me and he just puts his hand out, turns it over, and flips me off like that. And I looked at him, and I remember getting a little angry in response, but then I relaxed. I took a moment, calmed myself, said, no, I don't want to be reactive. And I want to use the yes and principle. Did I use the yes and principle? No, I didn't even do that this time. I just looked at him and I smiled and I said, "Oh, I see that you don't want to talk right now. It's okay." And then I turned back to her and I kind of cut him out energetically with a little wall and started talking to her. And she started laughing. He felt like a fool. Did he do anything? No. Matter of fact, in all the years I've been doing this, I've never been in a bar fight from doing this. And I want you guys to realize that, and the highs are probably one of the best ways, saying hi to everybody, including big guys, is probably one of the best ways to train this out of you. Going out and just doing social highs in the bars, like standing there in a high traffic area. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? Learning to meet people, learning to socialize. It's so powerful. So Anthony, do you got an answer for this?
Something that you already said, man, which is just don't.
Yeah, your mic is off, buddy. Is your mic, are you away from your mic?
And on the mic so that the phone doesn't overheat again. Is it better?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the first thing that came to me was basically what you said, which is not being reactive, and being just calming down, relaxing, and don't feel like you're gonna get socked in the face. Just relax. There's nothing to be worried about. Let him have his reaction. Let him have whatever he's gonna do. You're the only one who's gonna let yourself feel intimidated. You don't have to. You can choose not to feel intimidated. Just let it go and walk away from it.
Yeah. I think learning to stay calm in your own body is really powerful. The only people I've ever seen get in fights in bars are people that didn't know how to calm themselves down, didn't know how to relax and place attention, and then they escalate. Yep. They always end up escalating with their attitude, their energy, their anger, and people feel it. It transfers so fast, it's almost crazy. So with that said, I want to keep these short. We're going to be doing a bunch of these. Hey, Sunday, what's up, buddy? Okay, I saw you write this earlier, Sunday, and it's an interesting question because there's no real straight answer to it. I do want to answer Sunday's question because he's on here all the time and he's an awesome guy. He said, "Hi, Brian and Anthony. How important is asking a girl out, and how fast should you do it? And if you don't, can you lose her?" Gosh, that's completely different depending on how is the woman leaning in. Is she interested? Does she still have a bubble? Are you connected? Is she giving you hints? I mean, there's so many questions that go into when I ask a woman out, or when Anthony asks a woman out, I'm sure. I wouldn't ask a woman out that I don't have lean in from per se right away, unless I was the only exception to that is getting over the fear of asking women out. Like if you're just working on getting over the fear of asking women out, walk up and ask as many women out as you can a day and just take the nose and move on to you just don't give a fuck anymore. But you could say, "Hey, you're really cute. I just had to come say hi to you. You know what? We should go on a date. Let's go out." And she'll be like, "What?" And she'll probably be like, "Because it's too quick." And then she might laugh and you have a conversation going. And then maybe 10 minutes from there, she'll be okay. But let's say you're getting a lean in. and she's flirting and she's kind of hinting and you're ignoring that. That's a different story, right? So so really you got to learn to calibrate the moment Sunday and really feel the moment and adjust. What would be your answer on that, Anthony?
Yeah, yeah, very entirely situational. Entirely situational. Like you said, if you're on a date with a girl and or not even on a date with a girl, let's say you're interacting with a girl and she is showing interest, but let's say you're not catching the interest and you don't ask, yeah, it can be pretty frustrating to her that you're not catching the signs for being interested. But yeah, if it's let's say you approach a girl, you meet a girl somewhere, and it's like in the first 5 minutes of an interaction, I wouldn't do it. It's just at a very low success rate. Like Brian's saying, you really have to be able to see and tell when this girl has surrendered, when she's fully relaxed, when she's a little bit more invested. Because if you don't get any of that, you know, it's not worth shooting your shot, you know, because it's almost going to be like I'll say 90% no, you know, until you've actually given her a reason to surrender, relax, and to lean more in towards you. And you know, I see a lot. Guys go over to girls and try to get the numbers right away within the first 5 or 10 minutes, and they haven't really established anything at all. And the girl's just kind of like, I don't know you. You know, I don't want to give my number out. You know, I give you my Instagram. It's like that kind of thing where it's like you want them to be fully invested. So, you know, if I'm doing an interaction or approach, for instance, I definitely want to be in there as long as possible so I can give her opportunity to relax, surrender, get more familiar with me. And then, because then you know, there's a certain point there you're like, I know that if I ask for a date or a number, it's going to be yes. So you want to give yourself time to be able to see those things before you go out and ask for a date because you don't really know if you like her other than physically anyway. So
yeah, that's perfect. And there you go, buddy. So and I do want to address this other question. Not question, it's more of a statement. Seb wrote, I showed your video letting all women go to a friend of mine. He said this only makes sense for someone who has already had enough experience with women. Not my case. And that's true and not true. If you're just walking away altogether and dating yourself, yes, that is true. You want to get some experience and then walk away. But if you're if you want to actually know how to do this right now, as you're learning to meet women and start the practice early on, then watch my video, Letting All Women Go, and practice. It's in the, you'll find it in there. There's about three. I've got a series of these, Letting All Women Go. And Letting All Women Go, the practice of doing it or something like that, or practice in practice. I'll talk about how you feel the attachment and you immediately let go. Feel the attachment, you immediately let go. You do one or two approaches, then you practice letting go, and you build up this ability as you're learning. I wish I had done this in the beginning when I was learning, because I wasn't. Because this would speed everything up quite a bit. So there is a way to do that. It's a different process than I talk about in the first video. And it's a process for people just learning like yourself. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about this topic in probably more detail at the Integrated Man Summit too. I want to get into more practices, things you can do to really build this up and to build your personal power up in this area. Okay. But yeah, as you get better and better with women, you're going to get greater and greater opportunities to practice this. As you approach more women, you're going to get greater and greater opportunities to practice this, because you're learning to approach them not from a place of need, but from a place of self-love. And that's the real key. And if you don't understand that, then we definitely need to go deeper into this. Okay. I think we're going to leave, it at that. Yeah, you can practice letting all women go while approaching. There's a process for that. Just look for that video, Seb. It's the process of letting go of your attachment. So in that case, if you're doing it while you're dating, it's letting go of all attachment. The moment you're looking for those moments of rejection so you can practice letting them go completely. And so you need a process of letting them go completely, and then, or looking for the moments when the moment you start getting pulled into a woman and you start to lose your sense of self, and then breaking that. And that doesn't even have to be the date. That might be just looking at a woman. Sometimes that's just the practice of sitting there looking at a beautiful woman and learning to let go. And I talk about that specifically in that video. So it begins there. Okay. In close, is there anything you want to say, Anthony?
Nothing specific. I was going to say something to that comment, but you really covered it well. So nothing really other than check out the YouTube channel and stay tuned.
Yeah. Yeah, we got the YouTube channel. Stay tuned. We're going to be doing some more live feeds. We got the one on Monday coming up. We got a video coming out Sunday, of course. We got the live feed with the CIA spy, Andrew Bustamante, who's on Lex Friedman's show. So definitely check that out if you want to see him a little bit early. And he'll be talking about this perspective from the CIA's perspective and how they train it with the CIA agents. So that'll be super fun and exciting. Definitely check out the Integrated Man Summit events, and I'll see you in the next video as we move in this direction towards the Integrated Man Summit. I'm going to try to just keep bringing you more and more value. I want to, and so don't be afraid to comment in here on what stuff you want to hear me talk more about, because I don't mind doing some random live feeds on those topics too. Okay. Okay, guys, I'll talk to you all later. Oh, sign up for Anthony's channel, The Fearless Man Anthony. That's free. Just go subscribe right now. Hit the notification button and let him go see his subscribers go flying up here after this call. I think you'll enjoy that. Okay, guys.
Awesome.
I'll talk to you later. And Anthony, whatever you want to say.
Peace, guys. See you on the other side.
Remember, only the confident really live. Take care. Okay. Yeah, I don't even know how to log this thing out. You can tell I never do these. Okay.
There's not an end button on that.
I'll just have to do this. Okay. I think I'm just gonna have to do it from Zoom. That's what it is. Okay, guys, take care. There's the button for Zoom. Okay, cool.